Here we go. All right, Pat. Well, I'll hand things off over to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to introduce yourself and then share a little bit about the opportunity that we have before us.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for the welcoming all your peeps from Maryland there to join us today. And Bonnie's on the call with Maureen and a couple of her groups from the Gentle Passage Doula Collective. I'm Pat Sylvia I've worked for many, many years with Leading Age Washington. I currently work as a grant consultant with Leading Age Maryland and have worked with Bonnie and her group with my second grant to bring the end-of-life doula training to our members here in Washington. Our first round was very successful, and we're starting on our second round using CMP funds, and that is civil monetary funds that the states have the opportunity to use to help to offset their training. And we're interested in doing that there in Maryland. And there's other opportunities that we're looking at for funding to bring this type of training to SNFs or hospice or those that'd like to take an opportunity to take advantage of the training. I've worked with Bonnie for maybe 20 years, and I'm excited to introduce her and her team to, I've got a line over my picture here. There you go. Introduce Bonnie and her team to tell more about the grant.
Pat, can I ask a question?
Yes.
About the grant? And if you have questions, you could ask Pat, but then also can kind of save them towards the end as well. Curious, I know that there's some folks, I see Jan, I see some others that are in affordable housing settings. Can you talk about and just your, honesty on, grant money, in terms of, what they may or may not be eligible for, and then what that would mean for them?
Right. The CMP funds are specifically for skilled nursing, if we target that direction. Bonnie can do her training based on, those that we can do a parallel training of CMP fund classes, or we could do a parallel training for funds that we might receive for housing members. But there are grants out there. I've done some research specifically for housing members through foundations for communities that want to take advantage of this and training their staff. And there's even some specific to chaplains that I've located. So we would modify the training. Either we blend it for time and the value of people coming together, or we could do the training side by side. But the funding wise, CMP, when I speak specifically of CMP, it's for skilled nursing only.
Right. But anyone has the opportunity to take this training.
Oh, yes. They've done a great job around Washington, addressing all different types of hospices, adult day, skilled nursing, assisted living, individual training. It's open to everyone. Well, I would just be the one to help work on how we could fund it for as many of you as possible.
Yep. Great. Thank you, Pat. Any questions for Pat? I know that's sometimes the first thing on our minds are like, how much is this going to cost?
And then Bonnie can talk more in her team about the different packages that they have or programs that they have. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Great.
Bonnie, would you like to get started? Introduce your team quickly. I see that's on the call.
Yeah, I would be happy to. Well, first of all, I'm Bonnie Blatchley, and I'm one of the founding members. So, and I have two other founding members are here with us. So, Maureen, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'd love to. My name's Maureen Curis, and I am one of the founding members. As Bonnie said, my background is nursing. I've been a nurse mostly in end-of-life fields for most of my nursing career, and I get great joy in teaching everyone to work with people at the end of life. So thanks.
Colleen?
Colleen, hello everyone. My name is Colleen Hughes, and I also have a background in nursing, but I am an end-of-life doula and a conscious dying educator and a founding member of the Gentle Passage Doula Collective. And I can only say I have been in education a long time and love teaching people and sharing information to promote a death positive culture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen.
For those of you, I'm also a nurse, but I want to say that even though 3 of us are nurses, 2 of us are not. So one is a social worker and the other is a dietitian. And so you don't have to be a nurse to be an end-of-life doula. So I want to make that really clear. For many of us that are nurses, it's more of a challenge for us to be an end-of-life doula because we have to take off our nursing hat to do this role. It's a non-medical role. So I just want to kind of stress that to you. So let me just tell you a little bit about Gentle Passage Doula Collective. We came together probably about 5 years ago, thinking that we were all going to just be end-of-life doulas and do our own thing, but meet as a support group to each other. But we kept getting a lot of requests to teach. And because 3 of us are also have a background as university professors, we put programs together. You know, I've taught at 3 universities here in Washington. Colleen's taught in California, and I know you were at Loma Linda and UCLA. And so we have a background in putting together programs. And so we decided, since we were getting so many requests, that we would put this program together. And ever since we've had it, we've really had a lot of interest in people taking the courses. So our program is evidence-based. We always try to keep it current. We're always looking at new literature to upgrade things. And our goal is to prepare your staff with the necessary tools and techniques that they need to apply non-medical approaches, as well as appropriate communication to bring ease and comfort to your residents, patients, families, and caregivers. So as I say, we've been doing this for quite a few years, and I can send you everybody's background so that you can see our, you know, what we do. But basically, our overarching goal since we've been doing this has been to have an end-of-life, a trained end-of-life doula in every healthcare community, particularly senior healthcare communities, because we know that's where, you know, a lot of people are coming to the end of their life. So we have worked really hard in our state to make that happen, and we're making really great inroads. We not only work with nursing homes, but we have also been training hospice centers. We just finished training a volunteer hospice group. And so, and we're about to do some training with the VA. So we have had to, you know, adjust our program to meet the needs of the people who take our classes. And so that's one of the real strengths, I think, of our class, is that we are nimble enough to make those changes. So the last thing before I get into talking to you and telling you what the classes are is that I lost my train of thought. So I'm sure it'll come back to me. So let me just tell you exactly what the classes are. And I'm just going to kind of give you the titles of each class. Oh, I think one of the things people wanted to know is how long does this take? So the way we've been doing the class is we meet for 2 hours once a week, and we cover a couple topics each week. And then you have time to think about that, apply it into your job or into your community, or think about how you would do that. And then you come back the next week and we do a couple more, and that keeps going on. So I want to go through the classes, and then when I get at the end, I'll tell you what you get as part of this group. So we talk about what is an end-of-life doula, because a lot of people are not familiar with that term, and you know, when you talk about doulas, they think about birth doulas, but end-of-life doulas are really the other end of the spectrum. And so we're working with people generally the clients I get are people that are starting into the dying process. You know, they may feel like they have 6 months or less to live. Although I've had people on my list for 3 or 4 years, and they've also gotten better, and so haven't needed my services anymore. So it's still possible. So we go into what is an end-of-life doula. We talk about the doula code of ethics and the scope of practice for doulas, and I think this is really important so that people know where the boundaries are. You know, what do you do that's different from maybe a caregiver that's providing personal care. We talk about end-of-life care planning, advanced directives. So having people understand really what those are. We have a class on communication, and communication is really important, especially at the end of life. Lots of miscommunication can happen. And so we really work on how to have that good, open-ended conversation, actively listening, paying attention, and how to handle yourself when you get into difficult conversations. And then we talk about legacy and life review. That's Colleen's specialty. She's really good at that. Planning for dying at home, wherever a person calls home. We know that in our society, dying has been looked at as a medical event, and it really is a community event. And so we are trying to bring death back home. We talk about bedside care. Now, doulas don't provide actual bedside care, but it's important for them to know what they're seeing when they are at the bedside. So we talk a little bit about what does an actively dying person look like, and how do you know when changes are happening and things like that. We have a section on palliative and hospice care, and this is really helping people understand what it is and what the differences are between those. However, when we worked with our hospice group, we didn't have to do that course because they already knew that. So we substituted a class on boundaries. And so that just shows you how nimble we can be when we have to be. We also have a class on managing pain and suffering at the end of life, and this is using non-medical techniques. So we really work with showing people how not everything has to be related to taking medication, you know, so we leave that up to the medical community to manage pain with the meds, but we have other things that we can be doing as doulas. We have a class on holding vigil. What does that look like? And why is that important? We have a class on rituals, and we can actually put you through a ritual online, and it's very effective. We have a class on spiritual support because we know that spiritual support is really important to people at the end of their life, whether you're religious or just spiritual. There's something for that, I think, that everyone can take away. Funeral planning options is another one, and Colleen is really good at that. She's done a lot of work in that area. We have a class on grief, and our dietitian does that. She's a grief counselor. She's done a lot of work with grief, and she also does another course, which I'll mention in a minute. We do have a course on self-care, because it's really important that people learn how to take care of themselves, or they can't take care of other people. So we really do focus a lot on that. We have one on community resources, and sometimes we have not done that. Like we don't do community resources much with working with hospice, because they know their community resources, and so we might substitute something else there. And then finally, our last class is on trauma-informed care. And again, our dietitian usually takes this topic. She's done a lot of work in trauma-informed care. But all of us in our group are able to teach any of these courses. So we sometimes will mix it up a little bit. So you'll hear a little bit from all of us. So maybe I should stop here and see if you have any questions here, and then I can go on and tell you a little bit about the ongoing benefits to you all, especially after the after the class is over. We don't like to leave our students high and dry at the end. We give you a lot of information. And that's the one thing I was going to mention, is that some of us have taken more than one end of life doula course ourselves. And one of the reasons we created our class this way is because some of the doula programs don't give you very much information. You get a little bit, you can maybe get started. And then some give you so much information that you are overwhelmed with it. And so what we tried to do is create a medium so that we give you enough information to really feel comfortable going out and doing this kind of work. But then we have a program to keep you connected with us for a year, where we give ongoing training and we go more into depth into some of the topics that you want to know more about. So it's very fluid. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but maybe for now, I'll just kind of open it up to questions from anybody who might have some.
Bonnie, can you be clear in any prerequisites that are required or needed before day one, class one?
There are no prerequisites.
Okay.
There isn't anything that you have to do. We have had people take our course that did it because they had an experience with death that wasn't very good, and so they just wanted to learn more about it. We've had chaplains in our course. We've had counselors, doctors, everything. So Charlene, I see you have your hand up. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah. Hi, Charlene Curtis. I'm a chaplain in Maryland. And I was wondering, like, you said that it's 2 hours once a week, and how many weeks is it?
8 weeks.
Okay. And then do you have dates yet of when you're thinking about offering it?
We don't have dates for your group yet, so we're still looking at whether or not you guys want to do this. Once that happens, we'll negotiate dates.
Okay.
And we're always open to hear what you think will work for you, because we want to make sure that most of you can attend it in person, because it's in person live with us. We do tape each session because we know life happens. And maybe you get called away for a reason. We want you to be able to view the videotape of the course. So we do tape the course, but it's just for your group. So whoever signs up for it, you will have access to that tape. We try to have access within 48 hours after the class. And then the goal is for you to watch it before the next class, so that you can you'll be caught up with everything that everybody else is doing. But you'll get the most out of the class if you can attend in person. So that's why we kind of want to know from you guys what's sometimes that might be the best for you. And keep in mind, you're on the East Coast and we're on the West Coast, so that can create some challenges for both of us. So we try to work with you on that for sure. Great job. Great question.
And what are for those that might not be covered by these by the grant, what are the prices that you're looking at here?
Maureen, do you I'm only hemming on this because we just changed our pricing for this year. So Maureen was the one. Do you remember what those were, Maureen?
Yeah, right now our individual price is $1,299, but we had talked about doing a discount of $300 for your group for those that are not covered. So that would be $999 for the 8 weeks, and everything that follows for a year.
Great.
Which Bonnie hasn't gotten into that yet.
Yeah, I haven't talked about that yet, but I'll give you more on that in a minute. Susan.
Hello. If you're going to touch on the grant information, I do work at a skilled nursing. So I was just going to ask about how many people, what you suspect that will look like, to see how many people would be covered. So I'll just wait for your information then.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and Pat can speak a little bit more about that as well. When we go to write the grant, we would write it based off of the people that are interested. So we would let the committee know who is, interested in taking this, and then hope, our hope would be that we would get for those in skilled nursing at 100, at 100% for everyone. But that's why we wanted to have this informational meeting, let you meet Bonnie and some of the other members of the team, get to know, and then to email me and say, yes, I would love to do, yes, I am very much interested in this. And then Pat will begin, to work on the grant on the back end. For those that do not fall under skilled nursing, can still email me and let me know. I'm still interested in being a part of the Maryland cohort for this class. And I would, be willing, or my organization is willing to pay that $9.90. So we can work out all that kind of, I know everybody's situation is going to be different depending on where you are located. But we can work together. If you're interested, we can work together on that in the back end.
Okay, well, maybe I'll take a minute just to kind of tell you some of the benefits that we have. And Maureen, jump in if I miss something, okay? First of all, once you have completed our class, then you get a 1-year membership to the Gentle Passage Doula Collective. And what you get for that 1 year is a free monthly webinar. And so every month we offer a webinar that's included in the membership. And the topics for those webinars really are dependent on what people tell us they need. And so we don't have a slate too far ahead yet, but we do offer one every month, but a lot of it is dependent on what people are telling us they need more information about. We also do a virtual monthly coaching call. So people that are starting out jump on this call and we hear more about what it is that their challenges are that they're experiencing as they're doing this work. And that helps us, again, to determine what some of our webinars will be, but it also helps you become part of a community of doulas where you might come across somebody who you really click with, and maybe you can develop some kind of relationship, especially within your own capture area, so that you have more people to call on when you're doing this work if something comes up. And it happens to all of us. I mean, I've had experiences where I've had to go to my colleagues here and say, hey, I'm struggling with this with one of my clients. What do you think we should do? And we get really good advice from that. So that's really important. You can get individual mentoring sessions with us individually if you want to. There is a cost for that, but we give you a 20% reduction on that. We also offer a monthly death cafe that's free, to everyone, and that's open up to the community. It's opened up to the whole world, actually, because we've had people come on from different countries. We never quite know how they find us, but they do. So we've had people from all over the United States. We've had people from England, Scotland, Australia,
The Netherlands, South
Netherlands,
America.
yeah, South America. So we never know who's going to show up. There's no agenda on a death cafe. So what that is about is the people who come are the ones who set the agenda. They're the ones who will say what's bothering them. Sometimes it ends up being a bunch of doulas. Sometimes it ends up being a lot of caregivers that are out there struggling, trying to manage this at home without a lot of support. So that's another thing. And then I'm going to just mention this other thing because it's on hiatus right now, but 3 of our doulas have been doing a program called Win-Win Women, a different kind of doula. And it's a 30-minute TV program. They're on hiatus right now, but a lot of the programs that they've done you will find on our website. eventually. I don't know that they're up there yet.
We're updating our website, but you can also find them on winwinwomen.tv, and it's the program is a different kind of doula, and we have all of our recordings there.
Yeah, so those are available to you as well. So those are the things that we offer. Again, we want to keep the people who take our program with us. And then I guess the last thing I would just say is that we started doing a train the trainer program too, because we know that there are people who would like to be able to offer this to the ongoing to the people in their community. So if you want to do the train the trainer program, that's a different thing, but there is a prerequisite for that, which is you have to take our program first, and then we do another session, a one-day session, an additional one-day session for people that want to do that. And the cost for that, I believe, is
$2,500 per person, and it's 2 people minimum. And we give all of our material to use for a 3-year period. And we're there for support also.
Yeah. So that's about us. So again, I'm going to open this back up for questions. Is there anything we haven't answered that you want to know about?
Bonnie, can you talk a little bit about certificate at the end? Is
Sure.
there a renewal process? Any continuing education that's required after the classes? Can you just talk in terms of that?
Sure. Well, for those of you who are medical people that would need CEUs, I've worked with Pat and Leading Age Washington, who's willing to give CEUs for the course. So it's I believe it's 14 CEUs that you get for the course. And then for everyone else, we give you a certificate of completion. Because this role is not regulated yet, there's no requirement for continuing education. But because we are educators, we really believe that you should get continuing education. And that's why we offer the webinars. So that's really your opportunity here to get continuing education from us. But there are lots of things out there in the community where you can find out more information about that. We all do different things. I know Colleen does a lot of stuff with Cancer Care Alliance and some of the funeral people. I have a program called Memento Mori, which I do with my Catholic parish. So people can come to that if you're trying to do something specific in terms of religious stuff. But there's really nothing governmentally required right now. The only state that I know that has some regulation around end-of-life doulas right now is Michigan, and it's a reimbursement thing going on. But I do believe that probably within the next 5 years, maybe or so, it's going to try to regulate this area of practice. However, we're really fighting that not because we don't want people to be regulated, but once it gets regulated, it becomes more difficult. You've seen what's happened to hospice being so regulated, that it used to be hospice nurses could go into the home at any time, stay for as long as they wanted. And some still do that, I think, to a certain extent, but their time is limited in terms of reimbursement. And so basically right now we are private pay. But most of us do try to do some sort of sliding scale because we want our services available to anybody who needs it. So sometimes we do stuff pro bono, sometimes we get paid. So it's really, that gamut is really open to you guys and how you decide you're going to do this. And if you're part of a facility, it'll just probably be covered. somehow.
Would it be fair to say that at the end of the 8 weeks that somebody would be a certified end of life doula?
Yeah, it's a certificate program. Yes, yes.
Okay.
We give you a certificate at the end. Everyone will get one, and it will say from us and Leading Age.
It's not a certified program like Certified Nurses Aid, but it is a certificate of completion program.
Yeah, thank you, Maureen. I think that was the distinction that I wanted everyone to hear and understand.
Because it isn't regulated, there's no certification. You'll see certified end of life doula just means
Over there by
have the
chance.
certificate of completion.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Any other questions? Okay.
I'd like to say real quick, I know we're over, but this is a great training for those that work with seniors. One of my college roommates is the executive director for Foundations of Senior Living in Arizona, and she took our first virtual training, and she's bringing it in. This fall, she's going to be writing a grant because she said she wanted every one of her community activists that work with the elderly, because they don't just work on living, they work on lifestyle, health, everything for them. And she's been involved with Catholic Charities in Arizona. And she said, everyone needs this that works with people in this age groups. So it's really valuable. And I think we started this, our dream was to have a caregiver trained in every community, because as so many of us know, the caregivers are the ones there with people at the end of life, or the chaplains or the social workers. And yet we get very little training on this when we go through our nursing program or the CNAs or the healthcare assistants. We get virtually no training on being with people as they die. And that was our goal and our dream. So that's why we're doing what we do, is to make people more aware and able to be fully present in a positive way with people and their families as they are nearing end of life.
Great.
Colleen, could I just ask you, is there anything you want to add to anything that we've said?
I think everything has been covered, but I just wanted to add on to what Maureen had said, and you, Bonnie. The certification, what I have found is that it adds more depth to a person's either their life or their role in caregiving or whatever their responsibilities are in healthcare. And I've heard back from people that even though they may have had experience with death and dying, there is always something they walk away with that is so different that they had never thought of. And that goes for me too. Every course I take, everything I do, there's always something else that I'm learning. And I've been exposed to death and dying all my nursing career. However, it's really different. When I was trained as an end-of-life doula, it was really a different view and a different camera lens on death and dying. So that's really what I wanted to add.
Thank you, Colleen. All right, Sarah.
All right. Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everybody staying a few minutes over. I'll be sharing this recording with folks. If you have any questions at all after the information session today, please feel free to email me. I'll email you some information as well as with the recording. If you are interested in pursuing or moving forward with this opportunity, please email me so then we can get those people together for a conversation so that we know how to proceed forward together. So send me an email. I've already gotten 2 emails from folks that have during this call that have said yes, definitely interested. So send me an email. Thank you, Bonnie, for putting your email in the chat. Please feel free to reach directly out to Bonnie. But again, thank you so much for all of your time. Really looking forward to this possible opportunity for all of us here, for our members here at Leading Age Maryland, and hope everybody has a great rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.